Casting stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, I said,
Welcome in. Batten down the hatches, isn't that what they say? When the storm is coming, and it's coming this afternoon. I just want to make sure everybody's aware. Please take precautions. I went and filled my car up yesterday.
I did that this morning.
Just in case. It's about, like, if you're stuck somewhere, you can at least run the engine and keep heat on, because it is going to be cold. I think when I walk in here tomorrow, what is it going to be, like 5 or 6 degrees real, and then with wind chill below zero, right?
That's what they're saying. It sounds like we were talking about odds on the weather yesterday. Sounds like you got those odds up over minus 1,000 right now.
We did okay, 5-3 in our picks.
We did.
I didn't get any great gain on you, but it's amazing that we're 5-3 with all of the different opinions that we had on that, because we only had like 1 or 2 that were the same.
But those both hit. So if you're a listener out there and you hear Dave and I on the same side of something, it seems like it's automatic
That's a
right
lock,
now.
Baby. Exactly. I agree, and we'll do our pick 6. That will take place at 16 after the hour. We've got, boy, are we busy today, because we've got Steve Earhart at 10:15 to talk Liberty Bowl, AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We have Russell Copeland at 10:25 in the National Football League. Man, have we ever got a bunch of games, including to lead it off on Saturday, the Bills and the Chicago Bears. Wow. Commanders and 49ers, Raiders, Steelers, Packers, Dolphins, Broncos, Rams, Bucks, Cardinals, Monday nights, Chargers at Colts. All those games right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. You could say we are National Football League headquarters this coming weekend. The Tiger basketball team finished non-conference just the way they should. They were big winners. The Tigers recruiting class was pretty amazing. Depending on the service that you read, 24/7 has Memphis as the number 47 class in the country. And depending on the service you have, they're either number 1 or number 2 in all of the group of 5. I think it's North Texas that is up there with them.
Wow.
Which, by the way, is going to be an American Athletic Conference team next year. So that will be interesting for sure. 13 high school, 5 JC, 4 from the portal. You have a 4-star high school player in defensive back Marjavius Moss. Everybody was going crazy for him, and apparently that was a big shock that no one knew was going to happen. And then they got the offensive lineman Chris Morris, who's a Memphian who had originally signed with Texas A&M. He was a 4-star coming out of high school. So it looks like Ryan Silverfield has another solid class. He's got, whichever way you look at it, whether it's number 1 in the history of the school or number 2, it's in the top 3. And he's had all top 3. So next year should be quite the year. There were 10 linemen that were in this class. So he's trying to bolster both sides, and it looks like he might have done that. Speaking of taking care of business last night, so the Tigers were 31.5-point favorites. They didn't cover it. I knew they wouldn't. I tried to warn the guys that were talking about, they do this thing with Bryant and of course, Gabe and Brad.
The bankroll.
The bankroll. So I'm trying to save them, honestly. And I said 31.5 because both Gabe and Brett went with that. Bryant was smart enough not to do that. And I'm texting him. I go, Alo's not playing tonight. I didn't think Kennedy was going to play. I knew Dandridge wasn't going to play. I wasn't sure about Hardaway. I certainly didn't know Ian Granja was going to play. That was a shocker. But
used up one of his 4. I guess if he's going to redshirt.
That's it. He's done.
Yeah.
You know that it's not one of your 4. It's not like football. Football is a third of the season. Basketball should go to that. Basketball, you play 1 second, your redshirt year's gone. So Ian Granja now is going to be part of this rotation, or have a chance to be, because he's used up the redshirt year by playing the 4.5 minutes that he played last night. Go double-check that rule, because I did last night. Had an argument with Jason Munz. Munzie came back and quoted me the rule. You cannot play and get a redshirt. I don't care how many seconds you play. It's done once you step on the court.
That's interesting. That's changed then from when I was in college.
It has. It used to be you could play like 6 games. I remember that. And I tried to tell him that. And he goes, no, they changed that. And now there is legislation that in one conference, I want to say it's the A10, that is trying to do 30% like football is. So we'll wait and see on that. But right now, Ian Granja has used it all up. But the Tigers were 31.5-point favorites. Penny was not going to do that to his buddy Tony Madlock. And he was down to 8 guys, really 7 that had played. So I knew that wasn't going to happen. But here is, amazingly enough, another 31.5-point line. So now there are 589 times in the modern era since they've been keeping track of that. In the last 30 years, 589 times a team has been a 31.5-point favorite. So that's not that many if you think about all the college games there are. So it's pretty rare. There's a 31.5-point line. Last night, Iowa was a 31.5-point line over Eastern Illinois. Just to get some context, Eastern Illinois is the only team Alabama State has beaten this year. The only team that the Hornets of Tony Madlock have been able to win. They're now 1-11. 12 games all on the road, by the way. The only team they were able to beat. Last night in Iowa City, Eastern Illinois beat Iowa 92-83. That's the biggest upset of any 31.5-point favorite in this modern era. According to Caesars, 558-0 over the last 30 years. Not 588. 558-0 until last night.
That's really incredible, especially as you go look and see at Eastern Illinois' wins this season. Obviously, Iowa, they beat IUPUI, so they're on a 2-game win streak.
Wow.
They beat Blackburn, and they beat St. Mary's of the Woods, which is a school I've never heard of before.
They lost to Alabama State.
And they lost to Alabama State.
The only win they have.
It's unbelievable.
That is absolutely phenomenal. All right, I don't want to let this slip away. There's not much I can say about the Tiger game. They won. They were supposed to. They're 10-3. Their net was 42 coming into last night. And, they're anywhere from an 8 seed to a 6 seed, depending on the bracketology. All they can do now is keep winning and hope if they beat Houston once and they win, say, 15 of the 18 conference games, lose a couple on them, including at Houston, they have a chance to be a 6 seed, I think, depending on the way it all plays out. In the meantime, we're going to have Russell Copeland coming your way in a little bit, and Steve Arrett is right around the corner. But let's sort of put to bed like we usually do on Wednesdays, but because of my ineptness, my turnover yesterday, I forgot about doing the inane things that coaches say, and apparently Bill Belichick is the star of this week's Inane Things Coaches and Players Say.
It was going to be a great old-fashioned rock'em sock'em ball game.
Appreciative of the efforts. Obviously, we could have played smarter in some instances. Penalties are not how we choose to live, particularly some of the 15-yard variety.
He finishes. He's high motor. He's got a knack for trying to punch at balls, footballs, that is.
We have conversations about don't take the cheese.
I don't think it's about taking the cheese, all that.
Losses, they don't ever feel good. There's no more victories, you know what I mean? It's painful no matter what.
We've got to do a better job playing situational football and not making critical mistakes in the game.
We come out and we shoot ourselves in the foot.
And we shot ourselves a little bit with the penalties.
And we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
We just had too many mistakes and too many bad plays to win.
It's all gas, no brakes. We got to go make these plays.
Collectively, we made too many mistakes.
I don't get caught up in all the storylines and all that could
the shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
We need to try to eliminate all the mistakes we made.
The Buffalo Bills tried to not let us score, unfortunately.
Have to eliminate those mistakes.
There's no magical speeches. There's no words you can say. It just comes down to the players, as we talk about players making plays.
And those guys just have that magic that you need to have.
A mistake on the play.
Well, they were using big people, so we were using big people.
So that was a mistake on the play.
We're going to get stops. You just need 5 touchdowns. That's nothing.
It's obviously a mistake on that play, too.
Even though we didn't help them, those guys never flinched.
I didn't see him flinch.
I never flinched. I never worried.
I would probably flatten his tires maybe.
He shows up every day with his hard hat on, ready to go to work.
We need to try to eliminate all the mistakes we made.
It's hard to put into words. It's been a wild roller coaster.
I just don't believe in riding roller coasters in this league.
That's how normal life is, right? The ups and downs, and sometimes you're either going into a storm and coming out of a storm in life.
Every football game you have there's an ebb and flow to it.
It's the NFL, you're going to have ebbs and flows.
I coach more to the ebb and flow of the game.
Ebbs and flows of the game.
I mean, there's ebbs and flows of every season.
It's not their first rodeo.
We got to spill our guts again and find a way to win on Saturday.
Well, does it matter win, lose, or draw? All we want to see championship habits from the individual.
Win, lose, or draw, that doesn't affect how we turn the page.
We got to turn the page and keep fighting and don't quit. That's the one thing we can't do is quit and just attack each day and come together as a team.
We need to try to eliminate all the mistakes we made.
So,
I think the Patriots made some mistakes.
all the cheese, that was pretty interesting. That was new. Ebbs and flows. We didn't have one blink this time, so that's strange for this piece that we usually get. And then I have to ask you, did you repeat some of those lines from Bill Belichick, or is that how many times he said we had to try to eliminate all the mistakes we made?
I didn't even include all of them. Those are all individual
So is
mistakes.
that all he said at that press conference?
That's literally all he said. Every question they would start. So they started to ask him about the pass that was a turnover that ended up being a winning touchdown.
The lateral.
The lateral. He said that was a mistake. Then they were like, okay, we're not going to get anything from that, so let's ask him about other plays. He goes, we made a mistake on that play. They asked him about another play. We made a mistake on that play. That's all he would say. It's like, and they play the Bengals this week, so it's pretty much if it's Bengals week for the Patriots, he's going to say the same thing in every question.
I love it. The other thing I loved was Dan Campbell, who says he finishes, he's high motor, he's got a knack for trying to punch at balls. Footballs, that is.
You had to clarify.
Yeah, he did. Because when they're down in that pile. Oh, my gosh. My friend Mike Fitzsimmons says the first time he ever got, he was an all-SEC defensive lineman in, I think, the 80s for Ole Miss. And, he's a guy from Philly, and he was so excited. Didn't think he was going to get in the game, and they call him into the game, and he gets into a pile. He's a D lineman and an offensive lineman. They're down on the ground after a play, and he didn't wear a cup. And he didn't realize, because he didn't think he was going to play, what that would mean, and some Georgia O-lineman knew it and made him pay. Let's put it this way. He was done for a little bit because of it. Crazy. That kind of stuff does indeed happen. Steve Earhart is going to join us here in just a second to talk AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Looking forward to that. He's brought to you in part by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. And, of course, right now they are warning you. They're letting you know straight up. New government regulations mean they're changing systems and prices are going up, and it may be the right time for you to replace your old system before they go up in price. And to entice you, Conway is now going to offer you a cooling system, and there's different brands. It's not just one. A cooling system where they'll throw in the furnace, the heater, and a free Nest thermostat that is the latest and greatest in technology. Wow. That's what's going on. All you got to do is call 384-3511. Get in on it. Get a new system. Be efficient. Don't worry about the new regulations. Get a free heater and a free thermostat from Conway. 384-3511. We go cross town to visit with our friend, the Big Cheese, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That is Steve Earhart, who I know you're excited. You got the game you wanted. So let's start with tickets. How has the reaction been to Kansas and Arkansas?
It's been really a good, balanced Usually we have one team kind of overwhelms another, but Kansas has not been in any bowl game for 14 years, so they're doing very well in their sales. And, of course, we all know about Arkansas. The last 2 times they were here, we had a lock-solid sellout. So I think we're going to be close to a full house, but there still are good seats available. And if any of your listeners are Arkansas and Kansas fans, if you want to go to their ticket office, or you can come to our office, which is libertybowl.org, AutoZoneLibertyBowl.org, or Ticketmaster. There's still good seats available, and so we're looking for a good full house there. The ESPN guys called last week, and they're looking for a quality game here. We kick off at 4:30 p.m. On Wednesday, the 28th. Great time to feature our city there. 5:30 p.m. Eastern time zone here in prime time. No other game head-to-head against us, so it'll be a great opportunity for us to showcase our community.
And when it comes to just the players here, I've noticed I don't think there's many opt-outs in this thing.
Well, there's been a few. Arkansas has had, I think, 3 guys that go into the NFL, but that's given. That's happening everywhere, and quite frankly, we're not playing these great bowl games for the 2 or 3 players that are going to have NFL careers. It's a great opportunity for 100 players on each team to be able to, have an opportunity to celebrate with their family and friends, and have an opportunity to see things like Beale Street and the Civil Rights Museum, St. Jude Children's Hospital. So, that doesn't bother us that much. There's been a few of the transfer portals, but the great thing is that these 2 star quarterbacks, this comes directly from ESPN. You've got really classy quarterbacks, T.J. Jefferson, I think I have that right, and then Daniels up at Kansas, 2 electric quarterbacks. Remember, they really got hot starts early in the year. Kansas got off, they were 5-0 on game day and ranked, and then their quarterback got hurt, so they struggled a little late in the season. Same thing happened to Arkansas. They were in the top 10, and then their quarterback gets hurt. So both quarterbacks are healthy and going to play, and then the Rocket, the great running back for Arkansas, is going to play. So we're going to have some fireworks in the game. The game started out like, I think Arkansas was a 7-point favorite, and it's down to 3 points. So it's going to be a good, fun matchup.
I used to do this segment with you on a regular basis about the business of sports and the bowl business too. And in the last 15 years, 20 years, it's changed so much. Now you have playoffs, and that's going to be expanded. You've got opt-outs, and you've got NIL. So how much has that changed the way you guys approach, and how do you deal, not just you, all bowls, with NIL stuff?
Okay. Well, NIL, and we haven't made a big deal about it, but we're doing a kind of a unique program. It was featured in an ESPN national, release here, I think even this morning. But our great friend Kent Ritchie and the Landers Ford, because the bowl can't pay the players directly because that's supposedly a pay for play, and that's not appropriate. But a sponsor or a company can, pay some money to the players for promoting their products. So we've got a really unique deal here where Landers Ford is helping us put together a program where every single player on both teams, it's not just like some of the bowls do where the star player gets a couple $1,000s. What we're doing is we're paying Landers Ford is paying every single player on Arkansas and Kansas. That's 100 players on each team to send out a tweet to all their followers. Two tweets. They did it, one the week that they were selected and another one this week. And it basically they hit the button, hit the the link there, and it sends a message out that say Memphis is the home of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And if you click the button, like fundraising things for it, contribute $1, $5, $10, $50, and then the NCAA cleared everything that whatever money is raised in that effort, 50% goes to St. Jude and 50% goes back to the players who participate. So in addition to the money we're giving them, again, I keep saying it's Landers is giving the players to do the posting, so they automatically all get money for doing that. Then they get an above and beyond if money is raised through their followers. So it's a great experiment, and it's pretty unique. So we appreciate the opportunity to work with St. Jude and with Landers. So yes, there's changes coming in the NIL world. The players are going to get more and more participation as time goes on over the next few years. And then the opt-outs doesn't really bother me because generally there's 2 or 3 per team, and those guys, they're going to go on to an NFL careers anyway. But we're in this for a lot more. I keep thinking of the 500 band members. Some of your listeners got kids, working in their high school bands, and then they go into college. And this is their big opportunity to come down and parade down historic Beale Street, have a battle of the bands, play at the game, have their family be able to join them. Kansas has 500 members in their band. Arkansas has 500 members in their band. Then you get 100 players on each team, and that's what we're in this for. We want to showcase our city, the rest of the country, economic impact in the community, events that we put on, like our high school all-star game, the rodeo, the parade, those kind of things. So, yes, there is change coming, but it's really not going to affect us. The 12 playoff, those are the 12 teams that we don't have access to anyway. Those are the 12 that go right now to the New Year's Six. So those 12 now go into this is not for 2 years, but they'll go into their playoffs. So we're still going to have a spot for teams like, I'm so excited about Kansas because none of these players or band members or people have ever even been to a bowl game. Now, Arkansas did have a chance to play last year, so they had that opportunity last year. But what we're doing is creating a great experience for all these young people as well as their families and the entire university community.
So if I do my math correctly, Kent Ritchie is putting up $20,000 per team for this?
I'm not going to say exactly what he's putting up, but that's, he's been very generous, and I think it's helpful to his business.
If it's 200 a player times 100, that's simple math, Steve. There may be more you're not talking about, but it is really very generous of Kent Ritchie.
I think it's a good move because each one of these players has, a lot of followers. Some of these players have 20, 30,000 followers, and so it's getting the Landers message out as well. So, it is generous, and we thank Kent, and we thank all the folks here in Memphis who are helping participate, the volunteers who put these, events together, and it's all the businesses. We have 150 corporate partners that make this important, and, I'm anxious to see, of course, Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, will be coming here into town. We talked to the Big 12 commissioner and the chancellor of Kansas. So what the University of Memphis is doing, trying to put on a good impression of our community to the Big 12. And so we got the governor of Kansas coming in, the governor-elect Sarah Huckabee Sanders from Arkansas. They're both coming in. So this is a real opportunity to roll out the red carpet. So hopefully all your listeners can, share a little act of kindness when somebody's driving around. Hey, where can I park, or where can I go out to dinner? So, that's what we're famous for, is the great hospitality. And that's very important to us. We don't have a beach. We don't have an indoor stadium, but, we're looking forward to a really great time. And we look now at the weather predictions, and by Wednesday, it's supposed to be back up in the 50s. So knock on wood, we get the bad weather through here tonight and tomorrow. And then by game day, it's back a nice day. And so we want, Memphians to come out to the game too. And, we still work hard putting on the tradition of Danny Thomas and Elvis Presley with a musical group that we honor, and the halftime, we've got the great, they have evolved from Jefferson Airplane to Jefferson Starship to Starship, but that halftime they'll be doing those great songs. We built this city on rock and roll, and nothing can stop us now. And then at the gala at the Peabody dinner the night before, they'll be playing all their great songs like White Rabbit and all those great historical songs.
Who can sing White Rabbit if Grace Slick's not going to be there? That's what I want to know.
Well, the original male vocalist, Mickey Thomas, and he's kind of the star, but Grace Slick has retired. He said he's got a new younger lady who's got that same kind of voice as Grace Slick. So he said, I'm really looking forward to, I'm old enough to remember all those great songs like White Rabbit.
I remember the line. Let's see, one pill makes you happy, one pill makes you tall, one pill, and the pills that Mama gives you don't do anything at all, or something like that. That's kind of the line. Anyway,
that's pretty good, Dave.
Yeah.
You got that down.
All right. So what the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium holds 58,000 now, right?
At 57, I think, is. And there's
so
still a few obstructed views. So
you're going to be in the 50s. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. Yeah. That's what our goal is.
If you're in the 50s. I give a tip of my cap to you and the whole bowl system, because you'll be one of the most attended bowls other than the playoff games. I promise. I've seen all these other bowls. Heck, the Bahamas Bowl, there was nobody there. Nobody. It looked like a USFL game. That's all I can tell you. Steve Earhart, as always, I appreciate it.
Well, we look forward to, all Memphians come out to our events, our games, volunteer, roll out the red carpet. That little act of kindness makes a lot of difference with our reputation as a city. So we behoove everybody, and the teams arrive here on Sunday. Then they'll be here through the game on Wednesday, and probably be leaving out next Thursday with, So thanks for everybody's great support, and we look forward to everybody coming out and having a great day on December 28th, 4:30 kickoff.
He's the big cheese, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He's brought you in part by the good folks at the Eflin Insurance Team. You know Matt Eflin's group. They are special. They truly are wonderful guys. And what they do is protect you and your family with great service and great value when it comes to insurance, whether that is a home insurance program, life insurance, maybe it's auto, whatever it may be. He'll sit down with you and your family, get to know you, and then protect you. Same thing if you've got a small to mid-sized business. He is a commercial insurance specialist with those kinds of companies. You'll get to know your assets, what your product is, who your people are, what your budget is, and then protect you. All you got to do is call 901-386-GUR. That's 4777. The GUR is for the Roar of the Tigers because they're big supporters of the U of M. That's the Eflin Insurance Team. Back in the Family Leisure Studios in a minute, we talk NFL with the one and only Russell Copeland. He is next.
Let former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon with Sportstime on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for a bar with it all? Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. Pimento's makes football your fantasy with 17 TVs and $2 draft beers during the game, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know I love a great happy hour. At Pimento's, $4 house cocktails, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Yes, $4 house cocktails. Try one of their signature drinks like the JJ Spicy Margarita or the Tennessee Sunset. How about a Memphis Mudslide? Or be a kid again with the Adventure River Rum Punch. Hungry? Try a fan favorite, Bacon Pimento Cheeseburger. Or be like me and try them all. The Mushroom Extravaganza, Sweet Heat, and the Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. Need I say more? Well, yes, because there's so much more than just pimento cheese. Sliders, salads, quesadillas, 10 different appetizers. Just don't forget about dessert. 2 great locations, 6450 Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, and in Collierville, 3751 South Houston Levee Road. A bar with it all, Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. So much more than pimento cheese.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro, Weehaw, and Valspar. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, Lowe's e-gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit lowes.com/L/pro loyalty terms for details. Now through 1/8/23.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Time to put Week 15 to bed. Week 16 starts tonight. You can listen to the Jaguars and the Jets right here on Sports 56 at 6:30.
Talk about bad weather. A big blizzard up there tonight. It's going to be freezing cold.
That's got to favor the Jets, right?
Has to. Even with Zach Wilson,
I was just going to say,
I don't know.
But it is Zach Wilson. Let's bring in a guy who played in the National Football League in that kind of weather. That would be Russell Copeland. What do you do when there's a blizzard like you faced in Buffalo?
Well, I'll tell you what, you want to make sure that you got some really good offensive linemen and whoever can run the football. And it just reminds me last year when you saw the New England Patriots travel to the Buffalo Bills, I think they didn't run the football maybe one time and won that football game. But it's definitely going to be a game in the trenches. It's a blizzard. Wide receivers, hey, get your big shoulder pads on and get ready to block. But it definitely does favor the New York Jets since they are at home and you have a warm weather team coming to New York.
I was a little surprised in that Buffalo-Miami game the other day. Tua and Josh Allen were all going gloveless. I think they might have had a glove on their non-throwing hand, their left hand, but on their right hand, they were going without a glove. I thought they made gloves now so sophisticated you could throw with them.
I think you have to look at the quarterbacks, and I think a lot of quarterbacks still, they want to be able to feel the football, and then you also have your warming pads that you can put and warm your hands up. But speaking of that football game, I really was impressed by Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins, how he came out and played after having two subpar games previously, and I think he really looked like the quarterback that we thought that he has been the entire year. They really put up a really good valiant effort to win in Buffalo.
This has been a vintage year of craziness, I think, but nothing crazier than last weekend. 3 teams came from 17 points down to win games, and then you had the craziest and the dumbest play I've ever seen from a Bill Belichick team. A team tied, not behind, trying to go with laterals at the last play of the game and lateraling to another player that scored a touchdown, and they lose to the Raiders. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Hey, Dave, I honestly think that's one of the worst plays that I've seen in the history of the National Football League. But just watching that football game, I actually think that Stevenson and Myers, they really didn't know the game was tied on how they played, because you don't have to do a lateral. All you have to do pretty much is try to get a first down, or you can simply kneel and go into overtime. But it's really uncanny for a New England Patriots football team coached by Bill Belichick to not know the distance, not know the time, not know exactly what's going on from a coaching staff standpoint and also from a player standpoint. I was really appalled on what I saw from the players at a Bill Belichick coached football team.
Crazy, that's for sure. All right, we mentioned Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars tonight and the Jets. I think Trevor Lawrence is really starting to become a star. He's living up to the billing of being the number 1 overall pick. I think it helps that he got Chris Peterson in there as his coach when they got rid of Urban Meyer. But this guy is really becoming the deal, and the Jaguars could make the playoffs.
Yes, having Doug Peterson, I spoke about it earlier in the year when the season and preseason. I think getting rid of Urban Myers really was the best thing that could have happened to Trevor Lawrence. You look at Doug Peterson, he has worked tremendously with quarterbacks. He's been around a lot of great coaches. When you look at Andy Reid, he was in Philadelphia and Green Bay, Mike Holmgren, Steve Mariucci, and also John Gruden. He has definitely made a difference in that football team and Trevor Lawrence. And now you can see how he plays the game. The game has slowed down for him. He understands the speed of the game. He knows where his receivers are. He knows when to run. He knows when to throw. And he can make any throw, and he's having a tremendous year. And I think right now, each game that's being played, Dave, there's major playoff implications. And this game against the Jets is one of those games. Unfortunately, the weather will be tough, but this is a major playoff implications for not only the Jaguars, but for the Jets as well.
You love making bold predictions, so I'm going to throw you a high, hard one here. The Titans have lost Tannehill now for the year. Ankle. He's done. Will the Jacksonville Jaguars, it goes a long way if they win in New York tonight, will the Jacksonville Jaguars, who play the Titans one more time, will the Jaguars make that playoff by winning the division, or will Tennessee hold on without Ryan Tannehill?
The Titans will be able to hold on simply because this game tonight will have those implications that I talked about. I don't think the Jaguars can go on the road with this type of weather and win the football game, and it's going to be an AFC match. I think the Titans hold on. You still have Derrick Henry, and I really do like their backup quarterback. And we've seen this year that backup quarterbacks have come in and they've played very well. I think they'll be on the cusp of making the playoffs, talking about the Jaguars, but I think the Titans hold on.
All right. Speaking of quarterbacks that are starting to catch on, we have now seen, and he could break the rushing record for all NFL quarterbacks, Justin Fields. The Bears are going to be at home against the Bills. Both love cold weather. What's your grade on Justin Fields?
I think you have to give him an A, especially when you look at the offensive lineman. I don't think that the Chicago Bears have drafted an offensive lineman in probably 6 or 7 years. You look at the wide receiver core, they're simply depleted. This is a young man that has put the football team on his back. We talk about him throwing the football. Yes, he needs to probably throw the football better, but how he has taken the game and how he has made plays in critical situations when he simply could have laid down. He's been hurt. He's been sacked a lot of times. But I really didn't know that he was this type of dynamic runner, especially when you look at his size and his speed. But he has a chance to break Lamar Jackson's single-season record for a quarterback, and Lamar Jackson broke Michael Vick's record, and I didn't think he was that type of runner. You put some receivers around him in the draft, you maybe get some free agents, solidify that offensive line. Justin Fields is definitely worth the bid, and he's worthy of that number 11, number 12 pick that the Bears spent on him.
Well, I will say this. They mortgaged their defense to get picks, so hopefully they get some linemen. I'm with you. I want to see him throw the ball better because you can't run and stay healthy in the NFL.
Well, it's going to be tough. But how fast defensive linemen are, running the football. We talk about quarterbacks that run outside the pocket, but we have seen over the years that quarterbacks have really gotten hurt inside the pocket as well. The defensive linemen, they're so fast, they're so quick. You have to get an offensive line. You have to solidify that offensive line. You look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was hurt inside the pocket. You look at Joe Theismann back in the day. He was hurt inside of the pocket. You look at Alex Smith. He was hurt inside the pocket. You look at Tom Brady. He was hurt inside the pocket. So you definitely have to solidify that offensive line first and foremost. And now look at Jalen Hurts. He runs when he has to. And when he does, he gets down. But he was not outside of the pocket when he got hurt. He was trying to run because he got a pass rush. But he definitely does need to pass from inside the pocket more.
Pro Bowl selections came out yesterday. The Eagles had the most of any team with 8, so the NFC is going to have a lot of Philadelphia flavor to them. 5 other teams had 5 guys. 2 from the Memphis area. Tony Pollard, former Tiger, makes it with the Dallas Cowboys. Morgan Cox, people forget he's a high schooler from here. He went to Tennessee, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he went to Tennessee. Morgan Cox is the long snapper for the Titans. Used to be with Baltimore. He made the Pro Bowl, too.
That's really tremendous. The Pro Bowl, you talk about every year there has some stuff. But first of all, Tony Pollard, he's had a tremendous year. I think he's one of the most explosive players in the National Football League. When he touches the football, he makes something happen. He can catch it out of the backfield and go the distance. And, we're talking about snubs. You look at Justin Fields, I think his name kind of could have been right there. You look at Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith, and Kirk Cousins. Who do you take out? But I think Justin Fields had the type of season that he could have easily been into the Pro Bowl. And you look at in the AFC, you got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, but you leave out Tua Tagovailoa. So snubs are also part, of the National Football League. You look at Isaac Bruce in 1995. He led the NFL with 1,781 yards and 13 touchdowns, but did not make the Pro Bowl because Herman Moore had 1,600. Chris Carter had 1,300. Michael Irvin had 1,600. But for me, remember that year, I think Chris Carter should have kind of been out, but he had 17 touchdowns. And also D'Angelo Williams. He was snubbed in 2008, led the NFL in 18 touchdowns, over 1,500 yards, but did not make the Pro Bowl. But he made it the next year with a little bit over 1,000. So there's a lot of great players. A lot of things go in and out. And every year you're going to have players that get snubbed.
That is crazy. And I got to give congratulations to Morgan Cox because other than being a backup quarterback, I've always felt being the long snapper might be the best deal. You can't get hit because they don't allow it. You can last. John Albright's brother, Ethan Albright, lasted with Washington. I think he's a 20-year guy on the pension plan. 20 years as the long snapper.
I played with
you
Ethan.
did?
I played with Ethan, yes. I did. I played with Ethan He came in Buffalo and, some of his later years, outstanding guy. And I think that's one of the positions that we don't look at, but that's one of the most important positions on the field. And if you can long snap, you have a lot of longevity because, believe it or not, most centers cannot long snap. So it's one of those positions. If you can do it and you can do it well and you can get it back there to the punter within, 1 second or less, then you'll definitely have a long career. But, yeah, I play with Ethan, outstanding guy.
I remember Bob Rush, when he was doing the games with us, would always talk and sometimes go on the field and show the long snapper for the U of M how to do it in the best way. Not taking anything away from the line coach at all. But, Bob was the long snapper in the National Football League for a number of years. And he was telling you, if you get this down right, and here's how you do it, you can end up double-digit years in the NFL. It's incredible.
Definitely, Coach Armstrong, rest in peace to him, outstanding coach, for the University of Memphis special teams. And he would always say, that's a position that we have to be. You have to get this ball back to the punter. And I had an outstanding special team coach in Bruce DeHaven. He has passed as well with Buffalo, and he coached a lot of years in the National Football League. But that was one position, Coach Mark Levy, that snapper is vitally important because you only have so many seconds to get the ball back. It has to have the rotation, it has to have the speed. The punter has to catch it on the right side, pretty much like a field goal kicker, and get it out. But it is a very important position, not only, in the pros, but also in college as well.
All right. Before I let you go, and I do want to talk Philly and Dallas, but I wanted to ask you, 33-0, that lead that the Indy Colts had that they gave up to Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. The Viking fans were booing their guys vociferously, and I don't blame them. What does that say about Jeff Saturday? Is that, in your mind, the end of that chapter when this season ends for this coach?
Well, for my opinion, yes. But I think each and every week, I think all of us need to make an assessment with Jeff Saturday of how he's coaching the football team. And I think when you look at it, I think the assessment right now is that he's a little bit over his head. Now, what does the owner, what does he say about that? But I think if you give up a 33-0 lead and you are the head coach of the football team, I think, honestly, there's a lot of reason for you to be fired. 33-0, if you get a couple of first downs, Dave, you get a couple of first downs, milk the clock, there's no way that you give enough possessions to the other team. It wasn't managed properly. You cannot give up 33 points in the National Football League at halftime when you're leading. You simply cannot do that and still have a job as the head coach.
Real quick, Philly and Dallas, that's probably the best game. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to play. How do you see this one coming down?
Well, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the National Football League. Whether or not Hurts plays, I would like to see Minshew get out and play, especially when you look at Coach Leach passing away, and he spoke at that memorial. I would like to see him have a good game. But defensively, offensively, special teams, I think they're the best team. For Dallas, to me, they're still throwing too many interceptions, making too many mistakes in inopportune times. I like the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. Close game, but I like the Eagles.
He is Russell Copeland. He's our Pro Bowler. We thank you so much, Russell. We will talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks, Dave.
Russell Copeland on the National Football League is brought to you by Ken Garland. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. He and his dad for 60-something years now. They've had this great company. Ken Jr.'s taken over. He's a rare individual. When I say rare, I mean he's a guy that sees little details, yet the big picture all at once. Very few people can do that. He can. He's fun to talk to, 751-1632. If you are looking for land for your dream home, he's got it. If you have land in your family, you've been thinking about this for years, you're not sure how to utilize it, Ken knows. That's all he's been doing for 60 years. They've been building beautiful palaces throughout the Metroplex. KenGarland.com, that's the place to go to see it. And then maybe you're thinking, I don't really want the dream home. I like my lot. I want renovation. Well, he's got renovation, and I call it with innovation. He'll bring all the modern amenities to your old home. All you got to do is call 751-1632. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We pause for a second. When we come back to Baton Rouge we go. We'll talk a little SEC football and hoops with SEC historian Ron Higgins. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hey friends, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. You're probably thinking now about what to get that wonderful lady in your life for Christmas. And if you want something special, let me give you some advice. Special gifts do not come with a cord or a plug. The best gifts come in small boxes, make her eyes sparkle, and those gifts are our strongest point at Russell Brothers. A beautiful diamond bracelet or perhaps a pair of stunning diamond studs could make you a real hero on Christmas morning. Maybe she's dropped some hints about a gold and diamond necklace, or you want to surprise her with a magnificent ring that says, I love you. Stunning gifts of jewelry come in so many different flavors, and we've got them all just waiting for you at Russell Brothers. We've been helping Memphis shoppers for 5 decades, and we would love to help you become a part of the Russell Brothers family. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins, and remember, no cords and no plugs. Let us help you be the best Santa you can possibly be. Russell Brothers Jewelers.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Baton Rouge we go. Our SEC historian Ron Higgins now in the house with us. And I want to start with basketball. We'll get into bowl games and things of that nature. I know LSU is going to play Purdue. But let me just give you this simple. There's upsets all the time, like last night, Eastern Illinois beating Iowa. That was the biggest upset with a 31.5-point line in modern history where that occurs. But in the past couple of weeks, Ole Miss lost to North Alabama. Drake beat Mississippi State when they were undefeated. Grambling beat Vandy earlier. East Carolina beat South Carolina. UCF had Missouri on the ropes. It was a hope and a prayer on a roll to the middle of the floor, and the guy heaved up a banked three to win that game. I'm not sure the SEC is the powerhouse league we thought. I'm not a firm believer in Auburn. Arkansas, I think, is pretty solid. Tennessee, Kentucky. Alabama is a really good team. I don't think they play good enough defense to win the national title, that's for sure. Give me your assessment of, now that you've seen the non-conference season out of the way, what you think of SEC hoops. Good morning.
Good morning. I think it's good. It's not great. But then again, I don't know what league is really great right now. I always wondered, what the effect of the transfer portal would ultimately be, and now they're starting to see it. There's not really a team out there that you can say, man, that's a Final Four team. I know right now, I can look at that team, I can see what kind of talent and depth they had and the consistency. I don't care if Purdue and UConn are unbeaten. I mean, and you got a lot of one-loss teams. I just think this thing is wide open, and until maybe in mid-February you might see some separation, or you might see some teams like, okay, we can see now this team's a real legit. They could go to the Final Four. Right now, I don't see that anywhere. And the SEC, honestly, I think Arkansas is probably the best team. Arkansas and Tennessee, and I agree. Alabama has some deficiencies. Auburn is definitely not as good as it was the last couple of years. Kentucky's 7-3. So yeah, I mean, the SEC, it's good. It's not great. And college basketball, it's good, but it's not great. So that's okay.
So and you attribute that to transfer portal, and I guess one and dones, right? And now we're getting guys that would have been great players even for the 1 year that are going to the Breakers in Australia and New Zealand, and they're going to the G League Elite. They're not even playing a year of college ball.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are doing that. So again, it seems to me that the talent is kind of evened out some, I mean, more than usual, and that's why that's why I think this thing's wide open. I mean, that's fun. I mean, you don't want to come out of December saying, okay, like you always say, I mean, well, Duke's really good, that they're going to win it all, or Kentucky or Kansas, the typical blue bloods. I mean, you got right now people toward the top, Purdue and UConn's been, good in the past. Houston, not typical teams. Texas kind of got back up there, but you don't have those typical teams right now, and that's good. I think that's you'd wish college football could be that way, but it's not, and it probably never will be. But basketball, it can be. Yeah.
I would say there are 15 teams, and this is what's going to make it fun and dramatic. There are probably 15 teams that could win at this point, as non-conference is out of the way, that could win the national title. And usually we're saying maybe there's 4 or 5, right?
Yeah,
there's triple that, I would say.
Well, I agree. And that's what's going to make it really, really fun. I mean, as now we get in the conference play, SEC starts next week. But as we get in conference play, it's going to be really fun to watch this thing play out, because I just feel like there's not anybody out there that kind of wows you, and that's a good thing.
I think you're right about Arkansas. I think they're the odds-on favorite in my mind from what I have seen, provided they stay healthy. Look at a team like Creighton. They lost that big 7-foot guy who was so dominant, and I don't know if they've won a game since he went down.
Yeah.
So injuries play a role. Here's what I'll say about Alabama. They got 4 McDonald's All-Americans on that team. 3 of them or 2 of them are freshmen. One's a sophomore. The other guy's a senior who hasn't quite lived up to the billing. So I would suspect as the year goes on and they get a little bit stronger and more used to the college game, they still have a chance to be a real factor.
I agree. I think that Arkansas, Tennessee, and Alabama. I think those are the 3 best SEC teams. I mean, Kentucky's still working out some stuff, but I think those 3 in the SEC. I think those 3 kind of separate from everybody else. And of course, I think LSU plays every one of them in January. They play Arkansas. They start Arkansas next week at home. LSU's 11-1, but it's such a faulty 11-1. They're beating mid-major teams by single digits.
Well, I watched them beat Wake Forest, which is not a mid-major. It's a Power 5 team in the ACC.
That was their best win.
And they were down 20 in that game. So I'll give them credit for having the fortitude to come back and take that game. I was surprised because they were really, I thought, outmatched. And then, wow, what a job of coaching that was done there. All right, before I run out of time, I got to ask you about bowls. We talk about the way college football has changed, basketball has changed. How about college football? You got opt-outs. You got coaches leaving. Your LSU-Purdue game is so weird because Purdue doesn't have their coach, and they got a bunch of opt-outs.
LSU was in the exact same mess last year. They went to the Texas Bowl without a head coach. Kelly had taken over, but he wasn't going to coach it.
Right.
they didn't have a quarterback in the house on scholarship. They had to start a wide receiver quarterback. It does hurt bowls. But it was we talked a little bit this morning. I really feel like the teams that really want to win the bowl most of the time, some of these bowls are going to win. The teams that have motivated the most will win. Some teams will show up there, even if they have all their players, they may not feel like being there. And we've seen this time and time in the Liberty Bowl. I mean, history tells us when the Air Force beat Ohio State, you go down the line, there's others that happen. I still believe in the bowls, but I wish there wouldn't be so many opt-outs. But I understand that's the thing to do now. But I know this: nobody ever opts out of a playoff game.
I hope they don't. I'm going to tell you there'll come a day. I promise it'll happen. Yeah. You watch. I never say never because the way college football is gone, you never say never. Honestly, he's our guy. He's our SEC historian, Ron Higgins, down in Baton Rouge. Hey, Merry Christmas to you and to Paige and to the boys. Hope it's a great, happy, healthy New Year, and we'll do this again next Thursday.
All right, Wolo. Take care. We'll see you.
Thank you. That is Ron Higgins. He's brought to you in part by our presenting and title sponsor. That's Homer. So proud to have Homer still in this family. They've been around with us for I can't tell you how many years. And they got the best product. I think those Hyundais are great, whether it's a Santa Fe or a Tucson, a little smaller version, the bigger one, Palisade. How about a Veloster or an Elantra? And how about this deal? You get to the corner of Highway 78 Lamar and Craft Road, the first exit in Mississippi, and turn left and go see Chris True. And through January, they got a new financial incentive. You buy a new Hyundai, the best products around, drive it off the lot. Oh, and don't worry about paying for 90 days. You got 3 months before you have to make the first payment. This deal going on all the way through the month of January. Go check it out. You'll love it. You'll love everything about Homer Skelton Hyundai. We'll make our picks at 16. Andy Schiffman's going to join us on the NBA. Oh, and we'll start a new segment with Brian Dacus on the Tigers. That's all tomorrow. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everyone.
For over 8 decades.